Hello, it is Orca with another commentary on my YouTube channel. This game was actually played yesterday.
All units.
This is not my gameplay, it is Rupee's gameplay because I turned off the stream because it was laggy.
All units.
That is the reason
All units.
why we watching it out of Rupee's perspective.
Local units.
But I'm playing with Rupee and with limits
Local units.
versus Tefloge, Body Shot,
Local units.
and
Local units.
some other guy.
Supply
Sorry for
pad
that if you're
complete.
watching this. I'm playing as a Forge.
Local units.
Rupee is a cutter and I think Triox is
Local units.
an Enders.
Local units.
And what we're gonna see is plane versus triple covy, I think, versus two RBs and a versus all leaders. And we are not playing this like
Supply
you
pad complete.
would expect we playing this. Like triple gauze, let's go triple gauze or something.
Local units.
We playing this, maybe you should,
Local units.
maybe it's a new version to play it. Because I'm the Forge
Local
going
units.
Marines to defend the first wave of these guys.
Enemy
Because
engagement.
those guys are
All
trying
units.
or have to try
units.
to win it in the early game,
Supply pad
and
complete.
we are looking good
All
when we
units.
come to the mid or end game. And you see those guys pushing up on the right hand
All
side.
units. All units. All units. All units.
Yeah, and I'm going
All units.
barracks
All units.
4th and doing a greedy build with
All units.
where I have like early
All
enough
units.
rocket marines
All units. Reactor
to
complete.
defend
All
the
units.
air units and
All
to
units.
fight the leaders too. Because if you would have built
All
flamers
units.
at
Supply
this
pad
stage,
upgrade. All
the
units.
flamers cannot
units.
counter the banshees in the next stage of the game.
All units.
And the banshees don't have to fight the flamers because the flamers doing absolutely zero
Barracks
damage.
complete.
And the brute is already on the Enders
units.
base,
All units.
and I think Rupee is going flamers first,
Local units.
and then he's going into tanks.
Local units.
So in the early
Local
stage of the
units.
game, we're having
All
limits
units.
going Warlocks,
All units.
Rupee is going flamers, and
All
I'm
units.
going marines.
All units. All units.
And
Supply
yeah,
pad complete.
the RB is not here right now. That's
All
why
units.
Limits is not engaging with the Hawks,
Local units.
and
Local
Limits
units.
is trying to clear
Local
an
units.
expo in the
All units.
left hand corner, but the RB is already there, so
All
we know
units.
where the
All
RB is,
units.
and what we also know is that the Brute
units.
has an upgraded vortex
units.
which can fight the infantry.
All units.
So we definitely should
units.
drop a D-bomb. And I'm gonna drop it because I'm the Forge and I have the most of the money right now. Yeah.
All
Limits
units.
is helping us with this turret.
Local units.
Limits also lost a couple of pets.
Local units.
Yeah, by the way, I think Limits is cutter. But does it really matter? And re-engaging now
All
and
units.
re-debombing that those guys have to go out of the base here.
Local
If those
units.
guys running on the other side, the turret is shooting those guys, so it really
Local
doesn't
units.
matter that
All
the brute
units.
is
All
going
units.
away, in my opinion.
Reactor complete.
Would it be nice if we could have killed the prophet here? That's why I'm engaging with him, but my grenades don't want to land for some reason. And the brute is on Ruby's base and is really trying to deny the vehicle depot. Because we are expecting some raids, some maybe air units, and we also need Wolverines on the field in the later stage of the game.
Vehicle depot
And
complete.
Ruby is trying to build his first tank. I think he's building in the right
Local
hand corner
units.
turret. So if this brute is getting help with some banshees,
Local units.
we having turrets up.
Turret
I'm
complete.
having Marines fighting the
Local
Marines,
units.
and Red already has banshees up. And Limits is not getting up his vehicle depot, but Limits has a second
All units.
turret, which is pretty good, but we need to kill the Prophet. Prophet is doing
All units.
like an insane amount of damage, and he's putting the
Local units.
banshees in.
Local units.
You saw already on my base,
Vehicle depot
I'm
complete.
really trying to go rocket launcher right now, and Rupe is engaging the Prophet with the flamers.
Local
And the
units.
Prophet recalled, that is
All
a good
units.
play from there. The other brute shows up. What is he doing?
Base
Rupe
under
checked,
attack.
I think he was building air 2, and he don't wanna kill the turret what is building up. But will Rupe get his first tank out? That's the question here.
Turret improved.
The tank is out, that's a good idea. And they don't want to kill the vehicle depot, they killed it right now. And now the second turret is up, which is pretty good for us. But the arm shows up. And yeah, I don't think we drop in the depot.
All units.
Because the RB can
All
try to
units.
fight the Marines. And
units.
I'm thinking I haven't blocked. I don't have rocket launcher right now.
All units.
But I will have it soon. And the RB can try to kill the Marines. And we trap the RB in here
Vehicle depot
like bosses
complete.
would do it. And the RB is already red bar, and this is our biggest problem right now, the RB, not the air, because we're having turrets everywhere and I'm getting rocket launcher in a second. The Prophet shows up again, what is not good,
Turret complete.
and what is also not good, that we don't get, I think, the first Wolverine out. So I have to do massive work with my Marines to keep the air under control, and the RB is still raging, what means he doesn't build any units. So we don't have to be scared about the RBs building some raids or something.
Local
So we
units.
only need to have the air under control, and the RB is raging away with red bar. And I think the Banshee is showing up
Turret
on my
improved.
base right now, on
Local
blue
units.
base. I think, and those guys are thinking
Local units.
that is not good, man. We denied both other guys,
Local
but the
units.
Marine guy is having the anti-air right now
Local
because the
units.
Wolverine
All
guy
units.
didn't build a single
Local
Wolverine,
units.
and I'm not
All
having
units.
turrets on my base. My teammates do,
units.
but I'm not having.
All units.
But it really doesn't matter if those
All
guys
units.
hitting my
All
base,
units.
because I'm already on full pop right now.
All units.
It means the problem is that I cannot take Rupe to GT at this point,
Local units.
but I'm definitely having full pop soon, and we can turtle up. And Limits has
units.
his first Wolverine out, which is pretty good. So what those
Local
guys
units.
are doing in the next attack force. They're trying to deny Rupe's vehicle depot again, but we have some decent turrets and me rocket launching those banshees. And they killed a couple of turrets, but Rupe is rebuilding it. So they might kill the vehicle depot again, but no, those guys didn't kill the vehicle depot. Those guys went into my marines and his Wolverines. What could those guys do right now? Maybe maybe get second bases, maybe raids would have been answered. But I think we can counter everything, because if raids are showing up at this moment, we have quite amount of tanks. I could have built Spartans because I already have the speed upgrade for my infantry, which is pretty good. And Rupe says at this moment you need to take the money to get back in the game. And I think on the next stage I'm building turrets too, so every guy of us have turrets, and there is the first turret. But going back to what those guys can do, I think definitely Jackals is not the answer, because you see it later, bro. Jackals is definitely not the answer, because Jackals give me the opportunity to go other thingies, and those guys are trying to build Jackals right now. Jackals or hunters. So it is the best point to go on offense with my marines, because we have it under control. We have quite few Wolverines out. We have a decent amount of tanks, and I'm not letting him do like beam rifle or something. And yeah, we're having Kenny in the next engagement. We're having 10 Wolverines. And yeah, I'm dropping right now. So we see how that works.
All units.
Those guys are scouting this, but they cannot deny it, because those guys don't have any ramps on the field right now. Rupi is going PT right now, 5 tank PT, and the benches are playing defense on me. I'm first targeting some benches. We see the raids right now. Pretty good scout too. And I'm focusing down those warehouses too. I have to strip him fully, that he doesn't have any pads on his base. And he's pretty fucked. Let me just keep clicking looking, and I force them in D. And
all units.
We're getting easy.
All units.
Rupi is building an elephant to get spawned in those bad boys. Yeah, and I killed quite amount of banshees, and we sent a couple of Wolverines on the low ground, that the Wolverines can shoot the banshees defending me. And I'm clicking Rupi too, because Rupi is asking for clicks. And I have turrets on my base now.
Supply pad complete.
I'm double pumping marines. I can click him, but I think I'm transitioning now to air units. I'm not transitioning now. At this point I turned my stream off. I think so, because it was quite laggy, and this is the reason why I used Rupi's video material. There we go, the elephant is there. I'm transitioning to hornets because of the raids, because of the hunters, and to force them to build ramps. And if those guys build ramps, you can fight the ramps with the Wolverines. The tanks can glitch the hunters, and if those guys cannot build air, they are pretty fucked. and
Local
you
units.
cannot build air in the later stage of the
Local
game
units.
versus triple
Local
unsc. What you
units.
could have is a beam rifle hunter, not beam rifle hunter. Yeah, the last upgrade of the hunters. I don't have the
Vehicle
English
depot
version of the game.
complete.
Write it in the commentary what tech-free hunters means. So maybe I can say it in the next commentary, right?
Copy and rolling out. I'll get it.
And Rupi is having those bad boys with things.
Where to?
Those guys building engineers
Local
too,
units.
which is...
Out. Where to? Where to?
Is it
On the
good?
way.
Is it bad?
Send us
An
in.
engineer costs
Rolling
like
out. Where
250. But if those guys had those engineers way
to? Where
earlier,
to? Send us in.
they could
Where to?
defend my marine rush
Send us
better.
in. Where to? On the way. Spartan, good to go. Where to?
And I think
Where to?
Rupi
On the way.
is clearing bases right now.
Where to?
All units.
Oh no, he's
Local
scouting
units.
Where to?
if those
Send
guys
us in.
having bases on
Where
our
to?
side of the
Rolling
map.
out.
Local
There we
units.
go, they have one base. And
Local
with the other
units.
tank on the left hand corner,
Send us in.
Local
he's
units.
trying to build.
Where to?
He's not trying to build, he's trying to get some veterancy
Where to?
of the Spartan tank. Those guys coming on offense,
Local
the
units.
elephant
Canister loaded.
quite nicely is doing a
Local units.
good job at playing
Local
defense.
Where
units.
to?
Randomly playing a good job on
Local
defense
units.
with those two
Enemy
bad boy turrets.
engagement.
Send us in.
Local
And that
units.
is an army base.
Local
Army
units.
base building on it on our side.
Local units.
Sneaky move, boys. That is a sneaky little,
Local
a
units.
sneaky little
Local units.
tricky
Local
move.
units. Local units. Local units.
And we need to kill it. And we're killing it. Those guys actually had an opportunity to push because we are all out of position right
Local
now.
units.
But
All
the question
units.
is how many
All
units
units.
those guys have at the point here right now. And yeah, those guys
All units.
scouted that we out of position.
All
So
units.
those guys are not bad players, and there we go. They are
All
pushing
units.
on the left hand corner on my base. And I think they're pushing on my base
All
right now,
units. All
because those guys
units.
are really not done.
Where to? Send us in.
Yeah, and there
All
we go.
units.
Our tanks and marines all out of position. I'm having my first
Barracks complete. All units.
hornet out,
Local units.
which would have
Where to?
a little bit bad is I didn't have units and those guys had the
All
opportunity
units.
to focus down the
Local
base.
units. Enemy engagement.
There we go, the army is fighting PT tanks. I think it isn't Tech 2 army.
All units.
And yeah, those guys have to turn around
Local
because
units.
they're trying to fight some units right now. Because
All units.
our quality of units
Local
and
units.
our decent amount of units is getting out of
Local
control for the
units.
covy players right now.
Local units.
In StarCraft 2 you would have called it the Golden Armada,
All
which
units.
Brothers is playing.
All units.
Some air units and finally a mothership, and we cannot break the army composition. And that is quite the same right now on Triple Unit C versus
Local
Triple
units.
Covey. We have to total up, get the
Local units.
best
Local units.
army composition,
Local units.
and let those
All units. All
guys throwing the units away and found some ankles. But on this map, it's pretty hard to found right anchors with some big turrets, and
Send us in. Rolling
it's pretty hard. I would say in the early game it is possible, on the mid game it is seriously not
Station
possible.
complete.
And then you can have like 2, 3, 4 basic air scouting, and you can lose. you see those guys having like tech 300s, but does it really matter right now?
All
Does
units.
it really matter that those guys having tech 300s right now? I would say no.
Where to?
All units.
And that's what we tried to explain
All
Steven
units.
on the last night.
Enemy
Steven,
engagement.
I really like you as a player,
All units.
and I
All
think
units.
you misunderstand what Rupe was
All
saying.
units. All
But
units.
in this case, when you
New
play
blood.
versus an RB on the
Research.
other team at triple
All
unsc
units.
with maybe go and
units.
double
All
banshees,
units.
you cannot go hogs because you will never get the bases up, or you will never get the
Reactor complete.
numbers of goals on the field what you have to play
All
defense
units.
everywhere.
Where to?
And
All units.
that is the point. That is actually the point why
Supply pad upgraded.
Where
the
to?
coveys
Where to?
are
Local
way
units.
better
Where to?
in the normal case of the scenario, because it is pretty hard to
Supply
hold
pad complete.
the early game.
On the way.
It is like
Where to?
in these games,
Local
like
units.
the coveys win like
Where to? On the way.
70-80% in the early game,
Where to?
and this is the case why the
All
coveys
units.
normally
Where to?
are better, and
All
it's
units.
also in case why the triple UNC resigning straight at
All
the
units.
beginning.
On the way.
Everything
All
pushing
units.
up right now,
All
getting
units.
bases up and
All
ending the
units.
game, and this
Supply pad
is
complete.
a good game.
Where to?
Leave a
All
like
units.
on the video
All
if
units.
you would be
All
entertained
units.
right now.
All
Write a
units.
comment about my bad English,
On the way.
All
or
units.
I don't know.
Where to?
Write some Halo Wars news. Do you hear it like that? Do you hear it like that? On the commentaries.
Incoming.
And I wish you having a great day
All units.
and
All units. All units.
you enjoyed it.
All units.
Yeah, but we finishing this. We finishing this
All
watching.
units.
I played my outro too early.
All units.
But
All units.
I really don't care, bro. I don't care, bro. I don't care, bro. Ube is the third place because he was going tanks and he almost did not lose a single unit. Alright, I'm getting on, boys. Be prepared to me getting on right now.